With temperatures rising and the summer season kicking off, it's always important to know how to keep you and your family safe from any health concerns. For part one of this month's health check, joining me in studio to share some summer safety tips is WVU Medicine Camden Clark's Dr. Lori Gledhill. Dr. Gledhill, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So the first thing that I want to ask you about is what are the most common health concerns when it comes to the summertime for kids and adults?
Common health concerns in summer would include things like heat-related injury, which include dehydration. That would include sunburn and skin damage like rashes. It would include bug and insect bites and stings. It would also include orthopedic injuries like sprains and strains.
Okay, and so what are some of the top safety tips that you have during the summertime when people are outside, you know, maybe in the pool, maybe playing pickleball, tennis, something outside?
It's important to stay hydrated. That's key to beating the summer heat. You also want to dress appropriately for the summer, such as wearing lightweight, loose-fitting clothing. You want to know your limitations and take breaks when you need to, whether it's going into the shade or going inside somewhere where you can cool off.
Right. And so, Dr. Gledhill, I do want to ask too, you just talked about getting in the shade and cooling off. What about dehydration and heat-related illnesses? What's kind of the differences for kids versus adults?
For kids, you want to watch for things like dry mouth, decreased urine output, no tears when they're crying, or weakness and tiredness. For babies particularly, you can also watch for sunken eyes or sunken soft spots.
Right.
In adults, you'll notice increased thirst, darker urination, you can get muscle cramps, nausea, vomiting, and dizziness.
Okay, and so what would be the best tips that you could share to our viewers about staying hydrated during the summer months?
Well, in the heat of the summer months, you definitely want to make sure you're getting adequate water intake. You want to aim for about 8 glasses of water a day. You also want to take water with you on the go so you can hydrate while you're out and about. It's a good idea to eat hydrating foods, something like celery,
right,
you know, watermelon, strawberries. And lastly, avoid things that will dehydrate you, like alcohol, sugary beverages, or caffeinated drinks.
Right. So, Dr. Gledhill, what are some of your top recommendations for preventing heat exhaustion or heat stroke, and what are signs to watch out for?
Definitely, first and foremost, you want to stay adequately hydrated to prevent heat injury. You also want to wear appropriate clothing, like loose, lightweight clothing.
Right.
You want to be aware of being out in the sun for long periods of time and take breaks and go into cooler places when you need to.
And so I want to ask too, you talk about clothing, the loose fitter stuff. Does the color of your clothing, I know people say that black in the sunshine sometimes might not be the best thing to wear outside and it could, you know, make you sweat a little more and get dehydrated.
Definitely black would be the wrong choice. You want to wear a light colored, loose fitting, lightweight clothing.
Absolutely. And one final question for you in part one here. I want to ask too, what sunscreen do you recommend for people? As someone like me, I'm pretty pale. I go out there 15 minutes. If I'm not wearing anything, burnt. You know, I'm burnt to a crisp. I look like a lobster. So I got to ask you, what are some recommendations for our viewers that maybe are a little more sensitive to the sun?
Well, for our babies that are 6 months and under, we would not want to put them out in the direct sun, so keep them in the shade. For all other children and adults, you want to pick a broad spectrum sunscreen, something with an SPF of 30 or greater. And you want to use a lotion over a spray because of inhalation risks. But you do want to apply your sunscreen 15 to 30 minutes before going out, and then be sure to reapply it every 2 hours while you're out. And don't forget to do areas like the ears, the back of the neck, the feet, or the back of the legs when you're out. For people with really sensitive skin, they might want to opt for more of a mineral sunscreen like zinc oxide or titanium dioxide.
Okay, and is there anything else about summer safety tips, whether it's for kids, adults, or just anything else in general that you'd like to share with us about this topic?
I think the two most important points are stay hydrated, drink that water, and definitely know your limits and take breaks when you need to.
All right, well, thank you very much, Dr. Gledhill, for joining us, and we'll have you back on next week to talk a little bit more about some summer safety tips that you have for us. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Of course. When we return Mid-Ohio Valley, we'll have one last look at your forecast. Stay with us.